Some people don't realize they were broken years ago. They just wake up one day emotionally numb, exhausted, unable to recognize themselves anymore. And the most disturbing part? Almost nobody around them notices the collapse happening silently inside. There comes a moment in life when a person realizes they are no longer who they used to be. Not because they wanted to change. Not because they grew older. But because something broke inside them so deeply that the world itself began to feel different afterward. For some people, it happens after betrayal. For others, after abandonment, humiliation, grief, or years of silent loneliness. Sometimes the event itself lasts only minutes, but the damage continues living inside the mind and body for decades. And what makes this even more disturbing is that most people around us never notice it happening. A person can be completely shattered internally while still showing up to work every morning. Still smiling in photographs. Still answering messages with "I'm okay." Still pretending they are functioning normally while privately fighting battles no one can see. Human collapse welcomes you. If you've ever felt emotionally exhausted in ways you couldn't explain, if you've ever sensed that life quietly changed something inside you after certain experiences, then stay until the end of this video. And before we continue, subscribe to the channel to support Human Collapse and help us continue creating deeper conversations about psychology, suffering, healing, and the hidden realities of being human. When we are young, we unconsciously believe life will remain stable forever. We believe love will stay. We believe trust is natural. We believe the people around us will protect us from pain. There is an innocence in early life that convinces us the world is fundamentally safe and that we ourselves will remain emotionally untouched by existence. But life eventually removes this illusion from everyone. One painful conversation can change the way a person trusts forever. One betrayal can turn warmth into emotional distance. One traumatic season can fracture someone's relationship. Most people think trauma is something dramatic. A war. A car accident. A violent event. But some of the deepest wounds are invisible. Being ignored for years as a child. Growing up in a house where love felt conditional. Being betrayed by someone you trusted completely. Hearing "you're not enough" so many times that eventually your mind starts repeating it automatically. Trauma is not always what happened to you. Sometimes it is what never happened for you. The support you never received. The safety you never felt. The affection you spent your entire life chasing. And the frightening part is this: the body remembers everything. Even when the conscious mind tries to move on, the nervous system often stays trapped in survival mode. Studies in psychology and neuroscience have shown that chronic emotional stress can physically change the brain. Anxiety, hypervigilance, emotional numbness, panic attacks, insomnia, self-sabotage, these are not random weaknesses. They are often learned survival responses. A person who is constantly criticized may struggle to trust compliments for the rest of their life. Someone abandoned repeatedly may push people away before they can be hurt again. Someone forced to suppress emotions for years may eventually lose the ability to understand what they truly feel. And millions of people are living this way right now without even realizing it. According to mental health research in the United States, a massive percentage of adults report experiencing traumatic events during their lifetime, yet many never seek help. Instead, they normalize exhaustion. They normalize emotional disconnection. They normalize surviving instead of living. That is why ignoring pain is dangerous. What you refuse to confront does not disappear. It adapts. It leaks into your relationships, your habits, your self-worth, your future. Unhealed pain quietly shapes the way you speak, react, love, and make decisions. But here is the truth many people need to hear. Recognizing your wounds is not weakness. It is the beginning of freedom. The moment you become aware of your patterns, you stop being controlled by them unconsciously. You begin separating who you truly are from what happened to you. That process is uncomfortable. Sometimes brutal. But necessary. Talk to someone. Journal honestly. Pay attention to your emotional triggers. Stop treating your suffering like an inconvenience you need to hide. Because if you continue running from your pain, you may spend your entire life running from yourself. And eventually, every human being reaches a moment where avoidance becomes more painful than healing. We live in a world obsessed with appearances. People spend hours editing photos, filtering emotions, rehearsing confidence, and pretending everything is under control. Social media rewards perfection. Society rewards productivity. Even pain is often judged by how quickly you recover from it. So people learn to hide. They hide depression behind humor. They hide anxiety behind ambition. They hide loneliness behind constant noise and distraction. And after doing this long enough, many people no longer know who they truly are beneath the performance. That is one of the biggest tragedies of modern life. Not that people are broken, but that they feel ashamed for being human. Everywhere you look, the message is the same. Be stronger. Be smarter. Be more attractive. Be more successful. Never slow down. Never fall apart. But human beings were never designed to live without emotional scars. No matter how successful someone appears, everybody is carrying something. The businessman sitting in first class may be battling panic attacks in silence. The woman smiling in every photo may cry herself to sleep every night. The athlete praised for mental toughness may secretly feel emotionally exhausted and disconnected from life. According to surveys in the United States, millions of adults report feeling lonely on a daily basis despite being more digitally connected than ever before. Think about that. We are surrounded by communication, yet starving for genuine connection. Why? Because people are terrified of being seen honestly. They fear rejection, judgment, embarrassment, vulnerability. So instead of expressing pain, people perform stability. But pretending to be okay comes at a cost. Emotional suppression increases stress. Chronic stress affects sleep, relationships, physical health, focus, and emotional regulation. Over time, the mask becomes heavy, exhausting. Some people spend decades trying to maintain an image that slowly destroys them internally. And eventually, life forces the truth to the surface. Burnout, breakdowns, addiction, isolation, emotional numbness. The body always keeps score. That is why honesty matters. Not performative honesty online. Real honesty. The kind where you finally admit you are struggling. The kind where you stop pretending you have everything figured out. The kind where you ask for help instead of suffering in silence. Because healing cannot begin in the places where truth is forbidden. And maybe that is the opportunity hidden inside suffering. The moment you stop hiding your wounds, you also stop living as a prisoner of them. You do not need to become perfect to deserve peace. You do not need to erase your scars to deserve love. You do not need to appear strong every second of your life. Sometimes the bravest thing a person can do is simply tell the truth about how much pain they have been carrying all along. In Japan, there is an old art form called kintsugi. When a ceramic bowl breaks, the artist does not throw it away. They do not try to hide the cracks either. Instead, they repair the broken pieces using lacquer mixed with gold. Every fracture becomes visible. Every damaged line is illuminated rather than concealed. And somehow, the broken object becomes more beautiful than before. Think about how different that is from the way most people treat themselves. The moment life wounds them, they begin hiding everything. They hide the heartbreak, the failure, the trauma, the shame. They spend years trying to look untouched by life, even while internally falling apart. But kintsugi teaches a completely different philosophy. Your damage is not proof that you are worthless. Your scars are evidence that you survived. That idea matters more today than ever before. Because millions of people are secretly living as if their brokenness disqualifies them from love, happiness, or meaning. They believe one painful chapter ruined their future forever. A divorce, a betrayal, a financial collapse, addiction, depression. rejection. But history repeatedly shows the opposite. Some of the strongest people in the world were shaped by suffering, not destroyed by it. People who survived poverty often develop extraordinary resilience. People who faced rejection sometimes build the deepest empathy. People who endured loss often gain a profound understanding of what truly matters in life. Pain changes people. But change is not always destruction. Sometimes it is transformation. This is what many psychologists and researchers now describe as post-traumatic growth. Studies have shown that some individuals, after enduring severe hardship, develop greater emotional strength, deeper relationships, stronger appreciation for life, and a clearer sense of purpose. Not because suffering is beautiful, but because human beings are capable of rebuilding. That is the part many people forget. Healing does not mean returning to the person you were before the pain. Some versions of you are gone forever. Some illusions needed to die. Some identities had to collapse for growth to begin. And that realization can actually become freedom. You stop chasing perfection. You stop pretending to be invulnerable. You stop measuring your worth by how flawless you appear to others. Instead, you begin building something more honest. A life with scars. A life with wisdom. A life shaped by truth instead of performance. So do not waste your life trying to erase every crack within yourself. Look closely at the parts of you that suffered. The parts that failed. The parts that felt abandoned. Because those fractures may eventually become the exact places where your strength, compassion, and humanity begin to emerge. Just like kintsugi, the broken places in your life may one day become the most valuable parts of your story. At some point, every human being faces the same decision. Keep hiding behind the mask, or finally confront the truth. Because time does not stop for unresolved pain. Years pass quickly. People age. Relationships change. Opportunities disappear. And many individuals spend decades waiting for the perfect moment to start healing, only to realize they have spent most of their lives emotionally disconnected from themselves. That is the real danger of unhealed suffering. Not just sadness. Disconnection. Disconnection from your emotions. From other people. From purpose. From life itself. You can see it everywhere. People sitting together while emotionally miles apart. Families living in the same house but barely speaking honestly. Millions scrolling endlessly through their phones searching for distraction because silence forces them to confront feelings they have avoided for years. Modern life has made people more stimulated than ever, yet many feel emptier than ever before. And no amount of money, achievement, status, or external success can permanently fill a wound that was never acknowledged. That is why healing matters. Not because it makes life perfect, but because it allows you to fully participate in your own existence again. Healing allows a person to stop surviving and start living. It changes the way you speak to yourself, the way you love others, the way you respond to failure, the way you experience ordinary moments. A healed person does not become fearless. They become honest. Honest about their limitations. Honest about their pain. Honest about what truly matters. And that honesty creates connection. Because the truth is, human beings do not connect through perfection. They connect through vulnerability. Through shared struggle. Through the realization that nobody escapes life untouched. Every person you meet is carrying something invisible. A grief. A regret. A disappointment. A battle they rarely speak about. Remember that before judging people too quickly. Sometimes the strongest thing you can offer another human being is understanding. A conversation. A moment of patience. A reminder that they are not alone. And maybe that is the deeper meaning hidden inside suffering. Not punishment. Connection. Pain strips away illusion. It reminds us that we are fragile, temporary, imperfect beings trying to navigate an uncertain world together. So stop wasting your life trying to appear unbreakable. Instead, become someone real. Face the truth. Acknowledge your wounds. Ask for help when needed. Give yourself permission to heal instead of endlessly pretending. Because your life is happening now. Not after you become perfect. Not after you erase every scar. Not after you finally feel worthy. Now. And if this video resonated with you, subscribe to Human Collapse and share it with someone who may be silently carrying more pain than they show the world. Sometimes a single message can remind a person that they still have hope. In the end, perhaps the greatest misunderstanding about life is the belief that strong people are the ones who never break. But that has never been true. Every human being will eventually encounter suffering. Loss will arrive. Disappointment will arrive. Failure, rejection, loneliness, betrayal, and uncertainty are not exceptions to life, they are part of the human experience itself. The difference is not whether someone gets wounded. The difference is what they choose to do with those wounds afterward. Some people spend their entire lives running from pain. They bury it beneath distraction, work, entertainment, addiction, or endless performance. And slowly, without realizing it, they lose connection with themselves. Others choose a harder path. They stop pretending. They confront the truth. They acknowledge the broken parts within them and begin rebuilding with honesty, patience, and self-compassion. That is where transformation begins. The deeper lesson is this: your scars are not evidence that your life is ruined. They are evidence that you survived experiences that changed you. And sometimes, the parts of us that suffered the most become the exact places where wisdom, empathy, emotional strength, and purpose are born. So how do we apply this in modern life? Start by becoming more honest with yourself. Pay attention to the pain you constantly avoid. Stop treating emotional suffering like weakness. Talk to someone you trust. Set boundaries where necessary. Rest when you need rest. Spend less time performing perfection for the world and more time understanding who you really are beneath the mask. And most importantly, extend compassion, both to yourself and to others. Because everyone you meet is carrying invisible battles. The world does not need more perfect people. It needs more honest human beings.